Welcome to In Pursuit 360. And today we're going to answer a comment from a subscriber named Matt. Matt had made a comment. I guess there have been a couple times I said, if you want to know about law enforcement, it's really surprising. If you want to watch a cop show, watch Adam 12. So he said, hey, I watched Adam 12 when I was younger. Actually, he said Chips too, but I mean, Chips is whatever, Eric Estrada and Larry Wilcox. Anyway, Adam 12 has a little bit of realism to it. I was actually kind of surprised by that. But yeah, he said he watched it. But then he asked another question. He asked, how did I deal with all of the tragedy that I witnessed on the road? And then, does it still bother me? Do I still have nightmares, or do I still kind of react to it, I guess, or whatever? And so in the moment, being out on the street, I started patrol work on the road when I was about 24, and that's when I saw my first non-family member dead body, if you will, and it was a suicide, a shotgun to the underneath the chin, up through the top of the head, out on the front porch, and it just kind of looked like a wax figure. Didn't really think anything about it. Never knew who the person was. Never saw him alive. Just saw him dead. It was kind of gross, I mean, there was like brain matter dripping from the ceiling of the porch out there, and you could definitely see where the top of the head was gone, and we had to walk around and go through the back door to get in and out of the house. We couldn't go through the front porch because it was a mess. Anyway, that was my first encounter, and I never really it looked like a wax figure to me. Didn't really think about it. Then definitely over all the years that I worked the street, definitely seen some things. I mean, bodies and body parts, and from all the way from 2 years old up into the 80s or whatever, bodies that were freshly dead, bodies that have been dead for 30 days in the heat. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely car accidents, suicides, homicides. That, take your pick. Saw a lot. Didn't really think about it even up until the time when I left the sheriff's office after 13 years, and continued on, and my wife was a little concerned. I didn't realize it until I kind of went into federal law enforcement, and I went to a seminar where they started talking about PTSD in law enforcement, and it made me self-evaluate. I was like, oh my God, I was self-medicating with alcohol. I was drinking. I was drinking and didn't really even realize it. And so I ended up going to a counselor, was diagnosed with severe PTSD. I got some coping skills, some things that I can do, and ways to kind of talk through the things that I had seen that were kind of the most bothering me, and things like that. And there are exercises where you can kind of get your brain to accept or deal with the things that you've seen, right? So while I was in the job, I ignored it, right? And I think it's like a machismo thing. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female, right? But it's the peer pressure, or the paranoia that you admitting you have a problem dealing with something, dealing with a grotesque situation, that they're going to take your gun and badge. They're going to put you at a desk. Your peers will think less of you because you weren't able to handle it. And that's something that needs to go. That's something we need to work on eliminating, is that peer pressure, that idea that you can't admit that you have an issue or a problem, or that you're stressed or bothered by something. Things can bother you. It's okay. And you need to tell somebody. You need to talk about it. I didn't even tell my wife. I didn't tell my wife about most of the stuff I saw. Because it was gross. I didn't want to share that with her. I didn't necessarily have to share the details, but I should have shared kind of how I felt. I mean, I guess I kind of felt bad at the time. I knew things were gross, but of course you don't let it bother you. You just march through and you think that's normal. Well, it's not. It's not normal. It's not normal to see a dead baby at 2 years old. It's not normal to see an 8-year-old that hung himself off of a bed. It's not normal see a car accident where people are missing limbs or have been decapitated. Those are not normal things for the human brain to see. It's not how our society works, right? We don't live with that every day. So I just kind of marched through when I was on the street. I thought that was the normal way to deal with it. I mean, we'd laugh and crack jokes and whatever, and make rude comments amongst ourselves, and then go to the next call or go to lunch, and that was normal. But it obviously messed with me. I mean, to a point, I I self-medicated with alcohol. I was drinking. I mean, excessively. Not enough that I was addicted to alcohol, but I can tell you I ended up having a problem with binge drinking. Once I started drinking, man, that was it. I put away a 12-pack in a day on my own. That's how bad it got. So now there are certain things that I'll react to, and you're talking years later. So when I went into law enforcement in '93, I left the streets in 2006. Yeah, 2006. And then joined federal in 2010. And then there was kind of a form of corruption. I was doing better. When I joined the federal system. And then I noticed I was starting to kind of sink again, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, it turns out that it's not only the violence, but it can also be things like corruption or unfairness or things like that, things that go against what you believe in severely, that can kind of re-trigger it. It's like another version of it, which is what I got when I went federal. The administration, they were never cops. There was no standard. There was no law enforcement standard. It was a federal employee standard, and it was tough. It was tough to deal with after working the street, after working a law enforcement agency where if you told one little lie, you got fired in a heartbeat, to a federal system where, everybody lies. It's just, it's what did they call it? Not a lack of integrity. It was, anyway, they had another word for it. That way they didn't have to fire you for having no integrity. So, that kind of like spurred it back on again and brought it back. So, but there are certain things, certain songs, I guess will trigger it. Or if I'm in Virginia and I'm driving down a certain section of the road, there was a friend of mine, a state trooper, Jessica Cheney, who was killed in the line of duty. Every time I drive on that section of Route 1, I can't help but to kind of get that feeling again. The same feelings that I got the night that I find out she got killed. And songs or things. I don't watch violent movies like I used to. I used to love all the things, I don't know, take your pick, Band of Brothers or Hamburger Hill, or those violent shoot 'em up, especially the cop ones, right? The cop movies. I don't watch them anymore. I don't have any interest. I don't want to see the violence. I don't want to see the blood and guts, and especially now. I mean, you watch the old law enforcement shows and stuff like that, and somebody gets shot, you don't even see the blood, right? And they just kind of fall over. And they never really killed people a lot. They wounded them a lot if they ever did actually shoot them, where they would miss and they'd give up, right? But nowadays, I mean, it shows more than what you would even see in real life. Blood spray, right? Gushing blood coming out, all that. I've seen enough. I don't need to see any more, especially with Hollywood's version of it these days. So, so how did I deal with it then? I just marched through, right? Because I thought that's what we were supposed to do. How do I deal with it now? I use the coping skills I learned in counseling, and I kind of avoid the violent things that are out there that kind of remind me of it. So, so that's something else that you may have to deal with if you decide to join the world of law enforcement. So, we all pay a certain price, right? That's something that we do in law enforcement is we understand that we're going to have to see and then live with these things afterwards. But that's a sacrifice we make for the community, right? And our family members and our friends and those that live around us are the communities that we serve. So anyway, so there you go. That's it. That's some of the how I dealt with the violence or the tragedies that I saw while I was there, and how I deal with them now. I mean, they're still there. They still affect me. I still think about them. But anyway, so there's a way to fight through. The best thing I can say is let your family support you. Let your family and your friends support you. Share share the information, share what's going on in your life, and the experience that you have. You don't have to share the gore, but at least give them the idea. You know, you can say, hey, I had to deal with a dead kid today, and man, it's kind of messing with me a little bit. You don't have to give them the details of why the kid died. You know, how did they die? It was just really bad. And so I need to talk to you, right? I never did that. I never did that with my wife, or my friends, actually. And of course my fellow officers. I mean, we just go to Arby's and, you know, order a roast beef sandwich afterwards. So that's how we dealt with it. All right. So anyway, hey, I appreciate you tuning in. Again, don't forget, hit that subscribe button down below. Really want to hit that 2,000 subscriber mark. That's my next goal. And then of course, after that, it'll be the 2,500, then it'll be 3,000, 3,500. You know, we'll just keep going up, 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 up. All right. So I am here for you. I'm here to help you. So you have any questions, thoughts, issues, or concerns, please put it in the comments down below. I will check them. I will get back to you either in a video like this, or I will actually type something up, which I will probably follow up and type something up to the question that was asked. And we'll go from there. So give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you give me a thumbs down, please tell me why. Tell me what I can do better for you. You know, thumbs up, always appreciate that. Helps with the algorithm on YouTube. And don't forget the bell down there. That'll tell you when the next video is coming out. So in the meanwhile, once again, thank you for watching this video and coming over here to In Pursuit 360 and giving me a chance to kind of help you out. And as always, be safe out there.